Hey everyone, this is Frank Klesitz with Vyral Marketing. I'm here with Anna with ISA Maps Coaching, or Maps. I guess ISA Maps Coaching.
Yeah,
That's
ISA Maps Coaching, Maps ISA Coaching, all the same thing.
Yep. And we're going to have a great discussion for you today about maybe how to wean yourself off of maybe being held hostage, let's say, from some of the lead generators. So if you're spending a lot of money on leads, and it's slowly in the industry turning into a referral model where, 30, 40, it wouldn't surprise me if it, like a reload company, turns into 50% of your commission goes into the person who sends you the lead, right? And that's fine. You can make money at that, but it probably shouldn't be your only source of income where it's all from lead providers. The other big source of income, which is, as you guys know why you're here, is from your existing list, your existing database. What are you doing to stay in touch with past clients, centers of influence, or your sphere, as it's called, people just who know you, that can refer you, maybe buy or sell a home from you. What are you doing maybe to stay in touch with people in your farm when you talk to a homeowner in your farm, and what are you doing to let them know that you're still there to help them, as well as, all the leads you have generated, whether it's online or not, to move them along to you. So you have this database, you have this CRM. And why many of you are here is you may want to know how to reconnect with it. If you've been neglecting it, how do you reconnect with it? How do you maybe, if it's in many different spots, how do you export the lists from various CRMs or sources and deduplicate them and clean it up and bring it into an email program to send a reconnect message out? We're going to cover all this today. But also with the title of this webinar is Anna is going to share, your ISA or ISAs, if you have one or them, are talking to people all the time. They could be offering a free subscription to your real estate newsletter, your e-newsletter, and asking permission to stay in touch and building your database that way. So we're just going to talk today about reconnecting with your existing database, growing your database by getting your ISAs to offer a subscription, if you will, to your newsletter, by asking permission to stay in touch and asking for the correct email address to send them helpful updates, like put on your 30, 33, or 36 touch. And kind of get you going and focus today on maybe there's some money there if I did it right. And I want you guys to leave with a plan to execute. So that's what we're going to talk about today, Anna.
Yep, I'm excited. And I loved how you said all the leads in your database that are, I think of it where a lot of times we focus on lead gen and we get people into the database and then we're so focused on lead gen that we forget the lead follow-up. So it's like throwing leads into this black hole of nothingness where we're losing money. So I'm really excited we're talking about this today. It's going to help increase ROI for sure.
Absolutely. So I would assume we have a kind of a, not entirely, but maybe a Keller Williams audience here on the webinar. Would that be safe to say, Anna?
Yeah, I hope so. Hey guys, it's my work fam.
Yeah, so Keller Williams and Gary, I mean, he's doubling down the future of the company on the database, where you hold the relationship with the customer, and some other brand doesn't, right? Mm-hmm. And KW Command has artificial intelligence and all these ways to identify who's engaging, who's clicking, who's likely and maybe open to having a conversation with you. Yep. And you publishing content is going to help with this. So very quickly, let me just cover, what 33 or 36 touch should everyone have in place? And I'll answer that because here at Vyral, for 10 years, this is what we've been doing to help you stay in touch with your list. The answer is, and there's a point of diminishing returns, there's different variants of it, but 2 helpful educational videos a month that you send to your list by email and social media around the 1st and the 15th of each month, answering a commonly asked question about real estate or where the market is headed or something about the area. Mm-hmm. So twice a month, you send those out digitally, and then a monthly piece of direct mail. And what we like is, if I have an example here, I kind of do. A little postcard, something like this, where you put your video on it and you send your latest video out to your database saying, come back to my blog and maybe watch one of my latest videos and hire me to sell your home.
Yeah.
If you need some help.
What I like about that is they don't have to open it to see your face in your marketing because it's a postcard.
Just a touch.
It's like if they grab it and throw it in the trash, they're getting it. They're seeing it.
Yeah. So 2 helpful videos a month with a monthly piece of direct mail. And then maybe a few times a year you bring people together for a community event. And that is a wonderful touch plan to put everybody in your database on. Yeah. But without getting too deep into that, we want to talk about reconnecting and building the database today. So I guess we should talk about how to reconnect with your existing list. So Anna, why don't you share with the audience I think we all know the answers, but I want to hear it from you. Why should people set aside some time to maybe reconnect with their neglected database?
Yeah. So first of all, it's fun when you know how to do it the right way. So we're going to talk about some of that today. And it's people you already have. You already have the names, which means they likely at least have heard of you or know you in some capacity. So it's going to be warmer than a lot of other places that you could go to find business. They're already there. And I know from a pain point, I'll just be vulnerable and share my failures, is one time when I was hiring ISAs, I fell way behind on my database. And so when I came back fully focused on lead gen, lead conversion, I had hundreds of overdue tasks. And I recruited my team and said, look, I don't care, just help me keep tasks up. And it was painful how many people we called and said, we just listed, or we just bought a house with someone else. And I remember feeling sick to my stomach thinking, these people were sitting here, and because I wasn't keeping up with my database, I've lost money for myself as the ISA, for my agents, and overall for the team. And it was a big wake-up moment for me to realize how much I was missing by falling behind.
So what do you do to stay in touch now? Just give us an idea. I kind of shared one plan. What's your plan that you implement to stay in touch with your list?
Yeah, so it's customized for the people that I've talked to. So if I were to talk to you, Frank, and here's a good rule of thumb for everybody to write down. If you're a buyer and you say, call me in 6 months, I'm going to cut it in half. So buyers, I always cut in half. So if you say, call me in 6, I'm going to call you in 3, and I'm going to set a task. For sellers, I'm going to cut it in 2/3. So if you say, call me in 9 months, I'm going to call you in 6. So half for buyers, 2/3 for sellers. So for the people I'm actively talking to that have raised their hand and I'm working them down the pipeline, the task will be customized based on the conversation. For everyone else, if it's just, they're in there, they're not doing anything real soon, call them at least once a quarter. Just once a quarter, even if it's just a voicemail, make sure they're hearing from you. And when you add Vyral's plan of the emails, the direct mail, they're getting a lot from you, even though it's just one call a quarter. When you add all that together, you're touching them from many different areas.
So what we're going to get to here today is, I'm sure many of you want to know how to use your ISA to call your database. You want to use your ISA to grow your database. You want the calls done through your ISA, not you. But you have to give them a message to follow up on, which we're going to cover. So let's start off with kind of the first pillar of execution today, which is you have to round up your existing lists and merge them and deduplicate them and clean them. So can I maybe share how to do that really quick?
Yeah, go for it. That is your specialty.
All right. So the first thing you have to understand is that you have a database. Most likely, this is going to be wherever you manage your clients. Where do you keep a list of all of your past clients? Where do you have a list of all your current clients? For many of you, that will be in your CRM. That might be maybe in Command for some of you. That might be in Top Producer for some of you. It could be in Brevity. It could be in Commissions Inc. It could be in Boomtown. It could be in any one of those. Mm-hmm. But specifically, I want you to think about, where can we export an Excel or CSV file, like a spreadsheet, of all of your current and past clients. You might even have to go to your broker and get a list.
Yeah.
But we need to have that list. Hopefully there's emails on there. Hopefully there's contact information with it. And let's just assume that list is a spreadsheet sitting on your desktop. That's list number 1. List number 2, centers of influence. All right. I'm a big fan of your Google contacts. Your Google contacts, or Outlook, or whatever you're using for your address book, are all the people that you've arguably have been in contact with at some point. And if we send them a kind of a helpful, friendly, very easy to unsubscribe, don't click report spam email just once, we may be able to get a message out to them saying that you're looking to reconnect and let people know that you're still in real estate. So whatever you're using for your email address book, and we have to be delicate with how we use this, I would recommend you would run that export. Now, that's a lot of people. Okay, this is everyone that shows up in the autocomplete, right? You have all your past clients as centers of influence. Now, the next list I would look into are, who are all your active leads. I don't want all your raw, unconverted, crap that came in online that you couldn't do anything with, the fake emails and fake phone numbers.
Yeah, Mickey Mouse.
But the people you actually spoke with, let's say from the online leads that you've actually connected with, I consider those some good opportunities. Is there a way we can go into your online lead generation CRM, again, whatever you're using, whatever it is, maybe Real Geeks, I'm just going to throw another one out. You go in there and you run a list of all the people who you've spoken with, or maybe all the people who are at least opening the emails. Got it? And you export that, and that's your third spreadsheet you have sitting on your desktop. So at this point, there's a spreadsheet of your past clients, current clients. There's another spreadsheet of what I would consider, at a very loose definition, your sphere of your address book. And then the third spreadsheet, you would have your leads, your warm leads, people you've spoken with, or arguably maybe people, at least the people that have been recently opening some of the free value report or buyer lead emails that have been dripping out to them likely from the platform. Okay, so that's a great place to start. Anna, would you agree there's probably some business sitting in those lists for everyone here on this call?
Absolutely, because especially those Google contacts, there's been communication already back and forth. So I mean,
everyone on these lists, arguably, and you're pushing the definition, probably knows who you are at some reasonable level.
Yeah, they at least recognize the name.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do now is we're going to take all three of those lists, okay, and we're going to upload them all to an email marketing service that specializes in sending mass email, okay? Now, there's lots of different services out there. You have Constant Contact. You might be able to send it through your CRM, which I don't recommend because they unsubscribe from that. They unsubscribe from the property drips. Got it?
Yeah.
Also, the CRMs aren't really built for emails like that. That's not their core competency. You want to find a separate email service. Now, what we use here at Vyral, which is very strong, and the email service I would recommend for anybody on this call is Emma. Probably maybe haven't heard of it, but Emma is what we use. I'll share my screen here really quick. It's myemma.com, and they are just wonderful when it comes to email deliverability and mobile optimization. This is where I recommend you get your account. They're all great. This is just the tool that we use. It's the hammer we like to choose at Sears when we're building a house. This is our hammer. All right, it's a place to start. So you upload all of those contacts. Let me unshare my screen.
We love Emma, by the way. We use Vyral, and Emma, I mean, it's been great. The feedback we've gotten from our emails. I always get responses when we send something out. It's been really great.
Good. So I'm unshared right now, right? And we're sharing?
Yeah, I can see you. Yep.
So Emma's wonderful. So you upload all those contacts to Emma, and what Emma will do is now deduplicate all of them. So now they've all been successfully deduplicated. Emma did that for you, right? So you upload all three lists. It automatically dedupes. So there's only one of every email now on that account. All right? Everyone cool so far? We're doing all right. Now there's another step. If you plan on sending an email out to a list like that that hasn't gotten messaged, Emma will shut you down in 2 seconds. Because a list that hasn't been warmed up like that or cleaned, you're going to have a lot of bounces, undeliverable emails, a lot of emails that don't go through. They're going to say, we don't like this list, because they usually send out the emails in chunks of like 100 or 500 versus the whole list at once. And if the data comes back, when they tranche it like that, that you don't have a healthy list, they shut you down because it hurts their servers. Yeah. All right. So here's the trick. You guys ready? You download the list. So now there's one deduplicated list that you've downloaded from Emma, and go ahead and delete everything in Emma now. So at this point, you now have a exported list from Emma that's fully deduplicated. Any questions so far, Anna?
I was just going to say, even if that's all Emma did, I love Emma. And there's more. But yeah, that's great.
So now you have a spreadsheet that's been fully deduplicated, and you want to delete all those contacts in Emma. You just have the spreadsheet. You just kind of used it as a way to deduplicate.
Yeah, like a screening tool. Yeah, makes sense.
Okay. So now you have this list, this central spreadsheet of all of these emails from all these systems, all deduplicated in one spreadsheet. Marketer's dream, okay? But to actually get an email message out to that without cleaning it, good luck. You're going to get shut down for reasons I won't go into here about email deliverability. So what you need to do is you have to clean the list. And the service I recommend for that is called NeverBounce. So if you go to neverbounce.com, I don't know the exact pricing. We have like an enterprise account. This is what we do for all of our clients. Like what you're sharing here is, this is the onboarding process. So we have a NeverBounce account. But what they'll do is they'll verify all the emails by like silently pinging them all. And they'll guarantee you upload your existing list, you download a new clean one, and it'll deliver your emails nice and clean. How does that sound? And it'll give you these really cool reports of like, is your list legit? How many were bad? How many are disposable? How many are spam traps and valid? Yada, yada, yada.
That's amazing.
So
I
before
didn't know
you
something
spend,
like this existed.
yeah,
Great.
most people don't. It's knowing this gives you a competitive advantage.
Absolutely.
You know,
What I love though is working with Vyral. We use them all the time. I didn't even know this stuff existed because it's just off our hands. So
yeah, so we do that. So we would never want to send an email out to your list without scrubbing it first, because it wouldn't go out and you would not like us. So now we take the scrubbed list, upload it to Emma, and oh, we're having some fun now. Now inside this email account, you have the email addresses of basically everybody that you can get a hold of that are cleaned and ready to get a message out.
Perfect.
So now the question is, what do you send them? What's the message? May I share?
Yeah, please do.
All right. So this is being recorded. So at this point, you can jump back to the language I'm going to share. All right. But it's more important to understand the feel and the language I'm using in the email of the feeling you're trying to create. So it's important when you write copy is you always ask yourself, how do I want to make them feel? And if you can make them feel a certain way when you write, that's how you're really going to resonate and connect with the reader. So that's a copywriting course. But I want you to pay attention to how I make you feel through this. All right. So the subject line would be something like looking to reconnect, or excited to reconnect, or just want to reconnect with you, something like that. And it would say, this is all plain text, no images, just a simple text email.
Just
right?
like I wrote it. Right.
Yeah, real simple. I'd say, dear clients, friends, and colleagues. Hey, I'm the reason I'm writing you is I just wanted to reach out and let you know, if you don't know already, that I'm still in real estate. And I'm writing you because we're friends. Well, we've done business together. We're currently doing business together. You're a colleague, or maybe at one point you inquired about real estate here with our firm. But I wanted to let you know there's a lot of uncertainty with what's going on with the real estate market now. The Fed just reversed their position and negative yield curve or whatever, and the whole rate situation. And we have some markets are down 15, 20% as of February, and right. January, February, they're down in certain markets. What you're hearing in the national news isn't necessarily for what's happening right here in Omaha, Nebraska, right? So I want to recommit to you to keep you updated with 2 short videos a month, or whatever your plan is, about what's going on with prices that affect your home value, and more importantly, just things that affect our community. So you can expect to hear from me a couple times a month with something really useful. And I put a lot of effort into it so I don't waste your time. Now, if you don't want to hear from me, no hard feelings. You just scroll down to the bottom of this email, click unsubscribe, and you'll never hear from me again. I have no intention of spamming you. I actually put that in the message.
That's good.
Right? Yep. But with that, I also want to let you know that if you are looking to actually purchase a house, the technology now exists where you can search all homes online, just like we do as real estate agents, with pretty much full MLS access. If you click here to search all homes for sale, and that goes to your buyer lead gen site. Got it? But also, if you're thinking about selling your home, now's probably a great time to do it, because prices are probably going to go down. All right. So if you want to get your home listed on the market, this would be a really great spring. And you want to know what it's worth, you can actually click here to enter your home address. And based upon comparable neighborhood sales data, you can find out what it's worth. This is a tool that I pay for. It's yours for free. And of course, seriously, if you have any questions about real estate, financing, buying, selling, investing, just reply back to this email. I'm here, and I can answer anything for you to help guide you to make a smart decision in real estate. So if you have any questions or you're looking to buy or sell now, just reply back. Let me know. Anyways, I look forward to communicating with you. Thanks for reading all this. Frank.
There you go. And there's no video in this one. It's all written, right? That's
all
good.
written. Yep.
Yeah.
So what that does is that email goes out, and you'll have your click. You'll have an open rate, a click rate. You'll have your opt-out rate. And now you pretty much know who your real database is. As far as I'm concerned, it's really everyone who's opened that.
Yeah.
That's your real list. Yeah.
Yeah.
So going forward, you start sending out a couple helpful videos from time to time. Maybe you direct mail the list too. But that's essentially what you have to do to reconnect with it. Now, I won't go too deep on this right now, but where the Vyral comes in is if you have agents on your team, they should all be doing this. All the agents on your team have the same list. Every agent on your team needs to send an email from them out to their list, letting everyone know they're going to get the company newsletter going forward. And then you bring all those emails into your main list.
Yeah. And
that's how you market to the databases of all your agents and include them. And one of the arguments, if you're on splits where it's like, the database leads, 60-40 or my leads X, you can argue that all leads across the board, whether it comes from your database or not, are at the same split because you're helping them market to their database.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the benefits of doing that. That kind of helps up. So,
yeah.
Anyways,
That's good.
Any questions about reconnecting with your existing list, Anna, that you think the audience would want to know of what we covered here from that little segment?
Yeah, and if you guys have anything, type it in the chat box. I like how you broke it down at the beginning as far as how to get your list, because when I first got into real estate, I thought I know a ton of people. How to actually get their information is a huge question mark to me. So I love how you broke that down so simply. So I think a common question would be, so what do you say to them? I know that's part of what we're going to get into. But what do you say once they actually interact with you? And then I know, Frank, you said the list that opens it is really your database. What do you do with all the people that don't open it? Do you still keep videos? Or
yeah, you still leave them in there. It's fine to leave them on there. There's nothing inherently wrong with that. But it'll kind of give you a good idea for your own knowledge of like how many people are actually kind of engaged with you that recognize your name that didn't opt out when you sent it.
Yeah.
Right? So it's just kind of nice to know. But I would just leave the list where it is. So now what we have to do is we have to commit to building it. We have to keep, you're for those watching this, you're putting so much effort into speaking to X number of people a week, whether it's yourself or your team. I mean, my goodness, you should be asking permission to stay in touch. I mean, let me give you an example here. So what we do is we tell them to write the date on the back, if you can see this.
Yeah.
How many attempts did you make today to talk to somebody? Mm-hmm. How many people did you actually talk to? How many of those people did you add to your database? That's subscribers, which got marked out for some reason. Okay. And then how many appointments did you set? So that metric right there of your subscribers is really the wealth of building your list.
Yeah.
So in a second here, I want you to talk about how to train your ISAs if they're making all these hundreds of conversations a week.
Yeah.
How can we get them to slow down to offer a subscription to the newsletter?
Yeah.
And get their email address and bring it in. But let me actually show people maybe what you need to have is something of value to ask for the email address in the first place.
Okay. And then I have an analogy, a football analogy that goes with this, believe it or not.
So let's take a look here really quick.
Okay.
This is an example video blog. I would recommend everyone starts like their local. Anna, where do you live?
Greenville, South Carolina.
Great. You're going to create the Greenville Real Estate Journal brought to you by your team. And on that blog, you're going to start publishing on the left all these helpful educational videos of everything anyone would ever want to know about Greenville real estate. On the right, you would have all your call to action videos of why someone would want to work with you. And when you get a video done, you're going to put it up on the blog, put it up online, send out your video, and drive people to consume your content. So you're offering a subscription to keep people updated to the helpful information that's locally relevant, not canned, not a bunch of, crud that the pre-written stuff that goes out. Real helpful, actual stuff where people can get to know you and spend time with you online.
Yeah.
That's what you're offering to. So how do you build your list, Anna?
Yeah, well, I think, first of all, just to speak to what you're saying, I think so often where I see the turn of people in the coaching program anyway, not succeeding to succeeding is a mindset shift. And it speaks to what you're talking about is we are consultants and educators. And when we do that well, we will sell homes. But when we go into it and think, I got to sell, I got to close on this call within, if I don't close it within 2 minutes, I'm on to the next lead. That's where I see people failing. It's building a relationship of educating and consulting. And then when you're doing that well, you're the obvious choice, especially with a downturn in the market, because they trust you. And so then you're naturally going to then only want to work with you when the time comes. And so I love this plan of being educational and having a blog with tools and information they can go to for their source. So the question was, how do you build your database? So really it's on every call. I like to, and I'm gonna make it real simple. I think of a job as an ISA or really anybody that's a lead generator, agent, whoever. It's your job is to talk to humans and find out if they have a real estate need and grab their contact info because they will have a real estate need at some point. So anybody that you talk to, I don't care if it's a wrong number, that approach is, hey, while I have you, Frank, realize somehow I had the wrong number here, but I'd love to keep you informed about the market. What is your best email address? And it's not what is, I was going to say, it's not what's your email. That is what you want to say. It's not, do you have an email, or do you mind if I keep in touch with you? It's just, hey, what's your best email address? And it's that assumption that they're going to give it to you. And if they don't want to give it to you, they'll tell you. But when you say, what's your email address, it's harder for them to say no. And now you're adding them to your database, which will eventually they'll turn. People move every 7 years. So they'll eventually do something.
Yeah. So one of the ways to look at this is, I would love to ask everyone here, I'm going to ask you guys a rhetorical question, is how many people do you or your team speak to a week? So I don't know. I mean, how many people do you or your team speak with in Greenville, Anna?
Each individual, you should be talking to at least 100 people a week. If you're an agent, ISAs are typically talking to 200 people a week. Okay, so 20 a day or 40 a day.
All right. So hundreds of people.
Hundreds, okay. Yes. Hundreds.
Now, think of all the energy and training and money and resources and time and focus to actually get these people on the phone.
Right.
Right. I mean, think about it. It's a lot.
Yeah.
So just to slow down and say, hey, what's your best email address so I can send you this helpful information is very valuable. You know, I recommend bribes to the office. For every email permission you get $1 on the spot. That very quickly starts kind of building the culture that, you know, as we're looking for income, we're also building wealth at the same time, which is your database is your data bank.
Yeah, it's a great way to look at it. Well, and I think of it, if I can do my football analogy, I'm more of a basketball fan, March Madness, woo! But football, better for this analogy. So it's a mindset shift. And I think the way we need to think about real estate, it's like a football game, right? So if somebody gains 10 yards in a football game, if the fans were like, what a loser, he just gained 10 yards, we'd all be like, okay, clearly you do not understand this game. Yeah, he didn't just get a touchdown. He didn't get any points for us, but he just made progress. He just got 10 yards on the field. So we should celebrate that. Well, what if we started thinking of real estate like that? And I find so often very driven people, and I get it, it's I need the appointment or all is lost. If I didn't get the appointment, then, you know, it was a worthless call. And in one sense, I love that mindset of going for the appointment. But at the same time, we need to get as many people on the field at all times. And imagine that you can have however many people on the field that you want at any time. I want some people at the 50-yard line. I want some people at the 40-yard line. I want some people at the 30-yard line. And if I start stacking them up like that, and every day my mindset is, let me get at least 1 to 2 people into the end zone so I can get some points, get an appointment, and move everyone else up a couple yards, couple feet even. You start doing that every day, and you're going to suddenly have a very successful, very predictable business. And so what that comes from is slowing down to speed up. I have to slow down to get an email address. Or I might need to slow down to have a 5-minute conversation with someone about their motivation. However, because of that slower conversation, I will likely get a faster result because I slowed down to have quality and I moved them down the yard line, if that makes sense. And I just do that every day. And now, you know, I'm setting 1 to 2 appointments a day and I'm moving 3 or 4 people down the yard line. Suddenly they're going to be stacked and I'm going to have a really profitable pipeline.
Yeah. So it's about not being attached to the outcome, building wealth, getting the small wins, right? And every time you get permission to stay in touch, that's good. Now, you're not going to get, there's a question here. You're not going to get permission to stay in touch from everybody.
Yeah.
I would say a good target is 30%. 1 in 3 of the people that you speak to will say, yes, send me your stuff. Because if I were to create a landing page or an opt-in page and I was getting a 30% conversion rate, that'd be excellent. So that's where that comes from. So I'd say 1 in 3 people would say, yeah, go ahead and send me your stuff. That sounds really good.
Yeah. And even the ones that say don't stay in touch, they could be, I mean, I'm like that sometimes where I'm like, I don't need all the noise, but I remember them and I'm going to want to, it doesn't mean that you're not ever going to turn those people either. It just might mean they're, you know, it's not all lost. They just might not want your regular emails.
So what we talked about today so far is how to reconnect with your list. Mm-hmm. We talked briefly about how to grow your list. And the best way to think about growing your list is pay attention to how many conversations are you or your team having a week. And how many of those did you get permission to stay in better touch with by asking or at least reconfirming their email address to send them your stuff? And that should be about 30% of the people you actually speak to should say yes. Now think about this. I want to pull up a slide here to talk about return on investment. All right. Let's talk about making money. Isn't that the whole point, Anna?
I think so. Yeah. Help people make money.
So let's pull up a slide real briefly here that Gary Keller put on stage about the database. Sound good?
Yep.
I think you're seeing the true ROI of your database here on your screen.
Yep, we can see it.
Okay, great. So I'm just going to scroll down here really quick to, let's see if I can make sure. Yeah, there we go. How's that? That fits real nice.
Yeah, okay. Nice and good.
So let's take a look at this. So you only need a database size of 630 people that have given you permission to stay in touch to earn an extra $50,000 to $100,000.
Pretty good.
You only need a database of 1,000 people that have given you permission to stay in touch to earn an extra $100,000 to $200,000. Now, for many of these teams or anyone who could afford an ISA, I mean, you're probably speaking to 100, 200 people a week.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, think how fast you start building this if you paid attention to the wealth of this and you had a solid touch program in place where it wasn't just about sending them a bunch of canned stuff.
Yeah.
It was more about how can we get them to spend time with us online?
Yeah.
That's really the new question, not just touching. It's more about, you know, consuming you, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Time with you.
Yeah.
So anyways, those are some real numbers.
Yeah. That's good stuff. Well, go ahead.
Well, I said, I don't want to go into now. I could show you video blogs. I could show you video topics. I could show you emails. I could show you postcards. I could show you the whole like kind of 33 touch system. So now that you have this list that you've deduplicated sitting in your email account, your ISA team is asking for emails, and you have this asset here sitting here of people that will consume your stuff.
Yeah.
You know, what do you actually send them? We're not going to talk about that today. That's all up on our website. If you want to go to getvyral.com, you can see a gazillion examples of that.
Yeah.
What we want to talk about is, let's say you build your list. Let's say you've reconnected with your list. You've built your list. You're proactively building it by asking permission to stay in touch with the people you or your people are speaking with.
Mm-hmm.
You're sending them things that are valuable and not a nuisance. All right. You can actually track, and this is, you know, your CRM is basically spying on people. That's where everything's heading. Your CRM, KW Command, Marketo, HubSpot, Oracle. I mean, these are fancy schmancy marketing products, and they're only getting better, is basically spying on everything you're doing online and scoring you up.
Yeah.
Based upon who should be getting a phone call based upon their current behavior of what they're consuming.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And, you know, I think in the industry you have, okay, we're going to make outbound cold calls, circle prospecting, expireds, FSBOs. That requires a very specific behavior type individual training. Then you have inbound lead follow-up, which you're excellent at, of teaching how do you convert the online leads that come in. Yeah. How do you, call them 10 times, 10 days of pain, call them twice, war dial them, whatever, right? To convert that lead, to get your lead conversion up. So for every 100 leads, hopefully you close more than one deal.
Right. Yeah.
Well, the next type of call that is not talked about in the industry at all is hiring an executive assistant to call your database on your behalf.
Yeah.
And let's talk about that today. Because once you start sending this stuff out, once you're using the CRM and you're sending out things, you can track who's clicking it, who's engaging with it. It's going to score people up. So at Vyral, we give you a list of all the people that click the links in your videos to watch this stuff. I mean, out of send 1,000 emails, 300 people open them, let's say 30, 40, 50 people watch it. Well, wouldn't you like to know the names, or at least who in your database watched a video on the 3 things you must know before you sell your home this spring?
Yeah. That's a pretty hot lead.
Yeah, we got to talk to them, but nobody talks to them.
Yeah.
So
I don't know why that is. So let's fix it.
Well, what are your thoughts? Why are these called, like, I don't know, why don't they get made?
I mean,
why would someone pound out a bunch of cold calls?
Yeah.
Then call those people?
And I hear this all the time coaching ISAs. And so truth moment, when I first thought about calling my own database, this is a true story. And I coach this stuff, guys. True story. I actually went out to my car and I cried when I found out that I had to call my sphere. So I get it. And what I learned once I came back in the office and I had a good script, what I learned was I had made it so much scarier in my head, and actually doing it proved to me that it led to success. And so I think a lot of people have this fear. I think what it is, it's easier to be rejected by someone I don't really know because it's no skin off my back. But wow, to call someone that I do know, that feels a little scary and and I think that could be part of what it is. But I can tell you from working with ISAs or really just lead generators in general, the feedback consistently is, I don't know why I waited so long. That went so much better than I expected. And it's very common if we set a contact goal in coaching of say 10 by next call, they'll say, yeah, oh, I blew through 30 because once I got into it, it was going so well, I didn't want to stop. So I think part of it is just getting over the fear and making the first call. And then the second piece is knowing what to say. And so what you can say when you call people that have clicked on your video, there's a lot of ways you can approach it. I'll just give you my personal style here, is I would call and say, hey, Frank, it's Anna. I know I'm calling you a bit out of the blue today, and I saw that you were on our video, checked out our video about listing your home, and was just curious what piqued your interest in that topic. And it's a very open-ended question because I want to elicit them sharing with me their story. Another way you could open that, depending on how well you know this person or not know them and what they say to you. I love saying to an online lead, you know, you could have been on Amazon shopping for vacuums today. You know, what had you clicking on real estate related information? And it usually makes them laugh. And then they start talking about what motivated them to spend time on that video or that topic today. And that gives you a jumping off point for the rest of the conversation.
Love it.
Yeah.
So even if you were to make those calls yourself, I do think for most people, it is difficult to consistently get those done, like any calls.
Yeah. Yeah.
And since you do ISA training, is it possible to hire somebody part-time to make these calls for you? And I will say yes. I'm sure you could say yes too.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, I used to do that for Haro. So, and just to define real quick, I think most people probably know what ISA is, but we do frequently get questions of what is that? So we're talking about the inside sales agent who's really their one thing is lead gen, lead conversion. And so that's what I was for my team. And Haro, my team owner, the Haro group here in Greenville, South Carolina, he had so much on his plate and such an enormous sphere. That guy knows everyone. He asked me to help him start calling a sphere. And so the script was basically, hey, Frank, it's Anna. You know, I work here in the office with Haro. He's super busy right now, but he cares a lot about you and wanted me to just check in on his behalf and see how fill in the blank is going. So ideally, I knew something from previous notes. If not, just how's life going? You know, he wanted me to check in on you. But the more I knew about the client, the more, you know, he wanted to see how the house was going that you bought 3 months ago, or how are the kids? So the more I knew about them from previous notes, the more I could customize it. And people were great. They were, oh my gosh, it's so great to hear you. What do you do with Haro? And we got into a two-way conversation. And then the value add that I added at the end, because it's always about adding value. And quite frankly, I was shocked how many people thought this was the best thing ever. Because before we hung up, I would say, hey, Frank, just so you know Haro's super busy. So why don't you save my number in your phone, Anna, real estate agent, or Anna, realtor. That way you can punch in realtor on your cell phone and I'll pop up. And anytime you need anything house related, just call me. And in that vein, because we work in real estate, we know tons of vendors. So if you need a tree guy, a lawn guy, a plumber, electrician, feel free to call me. I'm happy to send some people your direction that we know and trust. It's a free value add. You're training them anytime house related, you call me. So I've got that in there. And truthfully, I was amazed how many people thought that was just the best thing ever. And I would get feedback like, oh man, I never thought about that. That's great to know. And it did, it trained them. You need a tree guy, call Anna at the Haro group. You need anything you need house related, you call the Haro group and they'll get you taken care of. And so it was a free value add, easy way to talk to Sphere. And it wasn't something Haro had to do. I just said I was calling on his behalf because he cared about him and wanted me to check in. And it was fabulous. And
it works amazing. It's a very customer service type of call to make. Get people talking to reveal if they maybe could buy or sell a home. and it's somebody calling on your behalf using your name, and there's already some instant brand recognition. So I want to go a little bit deeper on that. But we had a really good question. Kelly asks, how do you know who's opening clicking links? Well, in Emma, so for Vyral clients, you just download this app called Metric, and it will tell you in real time your opening, your click rate, your engagement rate, your shares, and you can actually see who's engaging with your stuff in real time. And that probably wouldn't be a bad idea to talk to those people, right?
Right.
Now, if you can't make those calls, you want to hire someone to make those calls. So let me kind of show you a script that works really well that we use here at Vyral for when we're making calls on behalf for our clients. I'll show that here in a second. But here's kind of what an assistant script would say. And we say we're calling on a recorded line because we record the phone calls for checking things out. So I would say, hey, this is Bob with, ABC company calling on a recorded line. Frank wanted me to reach out to you and just say thanks for subscribing to our newsletter. I'm his assistant. He wanted me to ask if you had any questions about, getting your home sold this spring. Because maybe that was what the video topic was. I could pass your question along to him and he will answer it for you. I'd also maybe like to invite you to an event coming up. May I email you the details? And maybe while I have you on the phone, is there anyone you know who Frank can help about buying or selling a home he can reach out to? Are you thinking about buying or selling a home anytime soon?
Yeah,
and that type of script is really powerful, especially when you're calling the people that are recently engaging with your videos.
Yeah.
And for what it's worth, at Vyral, I'll just share this. This is actually something we're doing for people now. We have a little test group, but for the longest time, for the past 10 years since we've been running the firm, I'll go ahead and unshare this, but for the past 10 years since we've been running the firm, we would take care of all the marketing. And, we got into this point in marketing where it's like, is it more videos that's going to get you higher ROI? Is it more emails that's going to get you higher ROI? Is it more split tests with your Facebook ads that's going to get you higher ROI? And the answer is honestly no. Somebody needs to call and talk to people.
Mm-hmm.
And the marketing is already doing such a great job of identifying who's consuming the marketing, but somebody has to reach out. So that's why we put a calling assistant program in place. And if anyone's ever interested, and I'll be talking to you about this, of helping us out with this, if you go to our website, get Vyral and click calling, you're going to see how we make these calls to your database, the people watching the videos on behalf of you as your assistant. And we're going to put all the metrics on here. So last week, we just started our test group. We had 94 attempts, 29 conversations. Of the 29 conversations, 7 people said they want to talk to somebody about buying or selling a home.
That's great.
So we pass those leads to the agent, and the agent has to kind of talk to them and requalify and decide if they want to accept that lead where it's legit or get in information. Then you want to track the all the way to closing and you have your revenue. Isn't that wonderful?
Well, and to put that in perspective too, a contact to set ratio, and I realize the lead isn't quite a set just yet, but they are saying, I want to talk to an agent.
Yeah.
Typical contact to set ratio, and this is across all lead sources. So when you put expired, FSBO, inbound internet, sphere, when you put them all into one big category, it's 5% contact to set. 7 out of 29 saying, hey, I really want to talk to someone, 24%. And so even if half of those turn into something, that's 12% conversion ratio. So I'm sure as you gather more data, we'll see that more as it flushes out. But even just have 24% of the contacts say, I want to talk to an agent, that's pretty close to, similar to I want to set an appointment. So, I think that's some great stats right out of the gate.
Yeah, I really wrote down, what's the whole goal with your calling assistant? I would say the goal is to pass you at least one, and this is dependent upon the price that you pay, but the goal is to pass you X number of conversations a month from your highlighted list that you accept into your pipeline as a likely future customer directly from the calling assistant work.
There you go.
That's it. And what you're finding is a lot of these CRMs are using like content strategy, predictive lead scoring, data enrichment. This is the future, guys. The future is not in making a bunch of cold calls. The laws are turning against you in your favor with that. Mm-hmm. With TCPA and DNC and those things.
Yeah.
When it comes to inbound lead follow-up, that's just going to get cut up more and more and more.
Yeah.
As those leads are logging on and registering on 10 different websites and there's multiple people chasing them. Yeah. I mean, you have firms now that are calling 50 times in the first 10 days they get a contact.
Well, and the script that will make you different, and it's not even really a script. It's just how to talk to people. It's not set words, but always start with motivation. It's always motivation first. It's really easy when someone is an online lead or you saw what topic they clicked on a video. And we should talk to them about the topic that they clicked on because that piqued their interest, obviously. But the first thing you want to talk to them about is what even has you thinking about moving, or what even put real estate on your radar. Because getting motivation that's not what a lot of agents ask about, at least not at length. They might just say, hey, what has you thinking about moving? And the client would say downsizing, and then they just move on to all the logistical stuff. Mm-hmm. And just remember that emotional reasons are what get people into action. It's not all the logical stuff. So make sure as you call these leads, you do need to talk to them about the video topic. It piqued their interest. But first, just start with, hey, Frank, I saw you were checking out our video. What even has you thinking about real estate right now? What put that on your radar? And whatever they tell you, in fact, Frank, if you would just role play with me for a minute, whatever they tell you, ask at least 3 questions deep on it. That's where a lot of agents ask and then they skip on to logical, and you will connect with your client at a higher level by going deeper with them. So Frank, I saw you clicked on our video. I'm just curious, what even has you thinking about real estate right now?
Oh, I don't know. We have a kid coming.
Okay. What about a kid coming has you thinking about real estate?
We live in a 1-bedroom condo, and I don't think my wife's going to like that.
Gotcha. Okay. So what would be motivating you then to get out of that 1-bedroom condo? What's the benefit to you?
A happy wife is a happy life.
There you go. Happy wife. Well, let's see what we can do to make that happen. So there you go. So even just getting some basic info. Now I know we're talking about a happy wife, and obviously a 1-bedroom condo with a baby coming, not ideal. So now as I get into the logistical part of the conversation, like price point and when are you doing this? If I run into a roadblock or an objection, I can bring him back to, I know we need to work through this objection, whatever it is. And remember, Frank, we talked about the baby coming. We got to get you out of that 1-bedroom condo. If you don't know the motivation, it's really hard to overcome objections later. Mm-hmm. It's just like coaching. What's your goal? And I'm here to remind you of your goal when you don't feel like doing it anymore. I mean, that's really what it is. It's not much different than coaching. You're like their real estate coach. Don't forget, you want this. I know there's all this obnoxious stuff about moving, but don't forget your goal. And you got to keep that in front of them at all times. So always go for motivation first, always.
Good.
I can't emphasize that enough.
That's great. So we got a couple other things I want to deliver on. We're going to talk about how to round up all your context, deduplicate, and clean up for an email. We talked about that. A message to email your database right now to identify some listing leads. I kind of gave you the verbal script for that in the recording earlier of what to send out to them. There's another one here of how to get the phone numbers for the missing contacts in your list. All right. Yeah. So let's talk about that real quick, of how to find phone numbers for missing contacts.
Yeah.
So first off, you could use, before you call somebody, you could use services like Spokeo and Intellius. I think a lot of people are familiar with those services. You type in someone's information, hopefully it pops up. I'm going to show you one that I really like. It's called Pipl, PIPL.com. And let's just say I just have someone's email address. I'm going to type in Frank at Get Vyral, and let's see what shows up. Now I'm going to search like the whole web, and you can see there I am. I'm 33. Here's all my information, and there's my phone number.
By the way, I'm going to be in Omaha in June. I didn't realize you were in Omaha.
Yep. Here's my my full name. There's where I work.
There you go.
Here's my wife. Here's one of my old houses.
It's a little scary that they can find all that from your email. I had no idea.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Here's my all I put in there. So you can actually check all this stuff out. So I'd recommend if you just have an email address, why don't you go try Pipl, see what shows up. Go and type yours in, Anna, and show it.
I was going to say, everybody's probably on there right now checking it out.
Let me give you the second option. So the second option is, let's say you actually have the physical mailing addresses. You have the physical mailing addresses, the contacts from database, which chances are you don't. Because at Family Reunion, Gary Keller asked everyone to upload their contacts to Command, and only 8% of people had mailing addresses. So if you keep that in mind, but you can go to companies like Experian, and there's a whole bunch of these companies. So Experian, obviously the data collection company, they will append phone numbers to your lists. And they have all these different ways of appending information to your list if you're missing it over many different data elements. But the real key in getting that intelligence is having the actual mailing address to get it done. Sound good? I'll give you one more little tip that I like to use to find phone numbers of like executives or find contact information of people who I need to get a hold of. This might be like a list of expireds or FSBOs where you're trying to get a hold of people. I hire paralegals. So I'll go on to Upwork, which is a freelancing service, and I'll find a paralegal that has access to data that they use to serve summons notices and subpoenas and complaints and stuff and lawsuits. And I'll say, hey, can you find the contact information of these individuals using some of the tools that you have? And they'll say, sure. And I'll usually pay them about 15 to 25 cents a record when they find information, and they go look it up. You can also hire a private investigator online that has the information to find it.
There you go.
So those are some of the very interesting ways you can go about finding phone numbers for people if you wanted to contact them in this way. So we talked about some of the scripts that brings value on the phone, and when it comes to hiring somebody to do it for you, without going into a whole hour on hiring and everything.
Yeah.
For those of you that are Vyral clients or you're interested in Vyral, our big push at Vyral, let me just show you our website really quick. Our whole goal is to help you stay in better touch with your database. And we do that by interviewing you on a webcam to create videos, send the emails out. We basically implement a 33 touch at the highest level for you. But somebody needs to be calling and talking to the people that are clicking the links. And we are putting together, for the next 10 years at Vyral, will be a full call center of very personable and well-trained calling assistants to reach out on your behalf as your executive assistant, dials, contacts, leads, to have conversations, to pass opportunities to you by making those calls. And that's something that we're putting together here at Vyral. And I'd like you to maybe help us out, Anna. We'll talk about that.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. Yep.
So I guess next steps, if somebody needs training and they want to put in place a calling assistant like we talked about here today, if somebody in the office making these database calls, they're going to get a hold of you, right?
Yeah. What you can do, I think I can share my screen, right? We're going to put up my Vyral website. Make sure I'm doing this right here. Yeah, maybe I'm not sure how to share my screen. Oh, yeah, maybe I don't know. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to isamapscoaching.com. And I am going to try to share it real quick because there's a couple of resources for you there.
I got it here.
You got it? Okay. If you go to right there, talk to a coach, enroll now. That's my phone number in the upper right corner. But if you go to webinars, the webinar tab, there's a bunch of stuff on there as well. And these are things I've done with Vyral. So there you go. Different things on how to hire people, how to train them. So you can go to isamapscoaching.com and contact me there. I'll also give you my email address. It's maps, like a roadmap. I'll type it into the chat box. mapscoachanna@gmail.com. That'll come directly to me. And then another resource for you is on Facebook. I have a Facebook group I started in 2014. It's called ISA Mastermind Group. And there's about 3,300 people in there. And let me tell you, I am on it. I kick people out if they're out of culture. So we've got a good group going, lots of great discussions. So ISA Mastermind Group is another place you can go. So my email, mapscoachanna@gmail.com, isamapscoaching.com, or Facebook group, ISA Mastermind Group. I'm happy to help in any way that I can. I'm passionate about this because Gary, can I get on a soapbox for a minute? Okay.
Yeah,
so when I was hired as an inside sales agent for the Haro Group, I had not yet interacted with a lot of people in the real estate community. And Haro gave me this book, the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book. Clearly it's well used. I use it in coaching all the time. Got all my stickies. And Haro basically said, go in the conference room and your first activity is to read that book. And really, you don't do anything else till you read the whole book. And so my first task was to really understand how a business runs. Best thing Haro could have done for me. And when I read that book, it said that the last thing you hand over to other people is your lead generation and lead conversion, because it's the most dollar productive and most business critical activity that we must master. And one reason I'm passionate about coaching this stuff is I see a lot of people with the ISA world think, who can I find for the cheapest, or who can I just throw on the phone real quick, not give them a lot of training and expect some great results. And it's like, that is the most business critical activity that we must master. And that's why I I want to help people fix it, because that role, or like what you're doing, Frank, with Vyral and the calling assistants, that speed to lead, knowing what to say when you call people, making sure that we have high accountability, that is the door to your business. And it's so crucial that it's running smoothly, because if that's not running smoothly, all the other roles will eventually diminish. When you have a solid lead generator, lead converter, no matter who's doing it, whether it's an agent, whether it's you as the rainmaker, whether it's an ISA, whether it's an outside service, when that's running smoothly, your business is going to flourish. So it is absolutely vital to make sure that we've got good training and good coaching. And I'm all on my soapbox here. But I was amazed when I got out into the community after reading this book, the way people talked about the ISA role, like it was entry level. It's actually, it can be a huge moneymaker for your business. It's lead gen and lead conversion. It's where it's at. You've got to have.
It says in the books we're in two businesses. You're the business of real estate, and then you're in a lead generation conversion business.
Yeah, you're in a lead gen lead conversion business till noon, no matter who you are. And if you're an ISA, it's what you do all day. It's your main thing. So, yep.
So everyone, thank you so much. If you want to learn more about Vyral Marketing, go to getvyral, VYRAL.com. I am Frank Klesitz, the CEO. Anna, thanks so much for your advice today.
Yeah, and thank you. We love what you guys are doing for us. So love Vyral. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.